Beautiful black woman cried into her food. Waiter changed everything. A beautiful young black woman walked into a restaurant alone. People stared, and then they judged. She started crying while eating, and the whole room turned against her. But one kind waiter did something no one expected. What happened next will shock you. Like, subscribe, and stay with us till the end. This story will warm your heart. The restaurant was busy that evening. People were laughing, clinking glasses, and enjoying their food. It was the kind of place where families gathered and couples celebrated birthdays and anniversaries. Then the door opened. A young black woman walked in alone. She wore a simple blue dress, her hair in soft curls that framed her face beautifully. She wasn't flashy, but there was something about her. She looked gentle, graceful, and sad. Every step she took was quiet, almost careful, like she didn't want to disturb anyone. People noticed her right away. Some whispered, "She's beautiful." A few young men looked up and couldn't stop staring. One even said, "That's wife." Material. But others were more cruel. "Why is she alone?" One woman whispered to her friend. "No friends? No boyfriend?" The hostess showed her to a table near the window. She sat down, looked around nervously, then opened the menu. Her hands were shaking. She ordered something small, just soup and bread. The waiter, a young man named Michael, smiled kindly as he took her order. "Take your time," he said softly. "I'll bring it right out." She nodded but said nothing. She didn't smile. When the food arrived, she picked up her spoon, took one bite, and suddenly, a tear rolled down her cheek. Then another. Within moments, she was crying, silently but deeply. Her shoulders shook, and her tears fell into the soup. She kept eating, even as the tears dripped into her bowl. Now, the same people who admired her were disgusted. "She's crying into her food? Gross," someone whispered. "I thought she was pretty, but that's just weird," a man muttered. One guy who had just said she was attractive turned away in embarrassment. Someone even walked toward the bathroom to throw up. Only one person didn't judge her. Michael, the waiter, noticed her pain. He could have just walked away like everyone else. But instead, he did something no one expected. He sat down beside her. Michael sat beside her quietly. He didn't say anything right away. He just waited. The young woman didn't even look up at first. She kept eating, tears still falling. But then, she noticed him sitting there. She looked up slowly, surprised. "I'm sorry," she said, wiping her face quickly. "I shouldn't be crying in public." Michael shook his head gently. "Don't be sorry," he said. "You're human. I don't know what you're going through, but I just wanted you to know. I see you, and I care." For a moment, she didn't know how to respond. No one had ever said something like that to her in public, especially not a stranger. "I'm okay," she whispered. "I'll be fine." But Michael didn't leave. "Would it be okay if I sat here for a bit?" he asked. "You don't have to talk. I'll just sit with you." She stared at him, unsure. Then, she nodded. Michael took a clean napkin from his pocket and gently handed it to her. She took it and wiped her face slowly. Her eyes were red, but there was a small, thankful smile on her lips now. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Layla," she replied. "That's a beautiful name," Michael said. "Mine's Michael." Layla gave a small smile again. "Thank you, Michael." He looked at her carefully, not with pity, but with care. "If you want to talk, I'm here," he said. Layla paused. Then she looked down at her soup and said something that made his heart stop. "I have a condition," she whispered, "a rare one. Sometimes I cry uncontrollably, even if I don't feel sad. Sometimes I laugh at the wrong time too. It just happens. Like this. Michael listened quietly. People always look at me like I'm broken, she continued. Even my ex-boyfriend dumped me because of it. I came here tonight to just eat in peace, but I guess even that was too much to hope for. Michael nodded slowly. Layla, you're not broken. You're strong. You're brave to show up and sit here. And for what it's worth, I don't see anything wrong with you. You're human, just like me. Tears welled in Layla's eyes again, but this time they were from something different. They were from kindness, from being seen. Michael gently reached out and wiped one tear from her cheek with a napkin. I'm here if you need anything, he said softly. Even if you just want someone to sit with. Just then, something unexpected happened. The restaurant manager walked out of the kitchen and saw Michael sitting beside Layla at her table. Michael jumped up quickly. I'm sorry, sir, he said. She was crying and I just wanted to make sure she was okay. Michael stood tall, ready to be yelled at, or even fired. But the manager didn't yell. He looked at Layla, then at Michael. Then he said something no one expected. That woman is my daughter. The restaurant went quiet. Michael stood frozen. Layla turned her head slowly, surprised to see the manager, her father, standing behind her. Dad? She whispered. The manager nodded. He looked at Michael, then back at his daughter. I saw her walk in, the manager said softly. She comes here sometimes when she's having a rough day, but today, I saw how people treated her. I was watching. Layla looked down, ashamed. Her father walked closer, gently placing his hand on her shoulder. You didn't do anything wrong, sweetheart? Then he looked at Michael. You were the only one who didn't stare, didn't whisper, didn't walk away. You sat beside her. You listened. That means something. Michael looked confused. I didn't know she was your daughter, he said. The manager smiled. You didn't need to know. You treated her with respect anyway. That tells me everything I need to know about your heart. Then he added, you are the kind of man I've prayed would come into her life. From that night on, Layla and Michael started seeing more of each other. At first, it was small things, coffee breaks, short walks after her episodes. Michael never judged her. He never asked her to hide her condition. He just held her hand and stayed. Layla felt peace for the first time in years. One day, she had a crying episode right in the middle of a grocery store. Michael was there. Instead of running away or acting embarrassed, he stood behind her, arms wrapped around her, shielding her from the stares. He whispered, I've got you. And Layla knew this man wasn't going anywhere. A year later, Michael proposed, not with a big crowd or flashing lights, just a quiet moment in the same restaurant where it all began. Layla said yes, tears running down her face again. But this time, they were happy tears. Everyone in the restaurant stood up and clapped, even the ones who once judged her. 3 years passed. Michael and Layla were now married, building a beautiful life together. Layla's condition hadn't gone away, but now she didn't hide it. Because Michael made her feel proud of who she was. And her father? He had one more surprise. One evening during a staff meeting, the manager stood in front of everyone and said, I'm retiring, and I'm handing this restaurant over to 2 people who have shown me what real love, strength, and compassion look like, my daughter Layla and her husband Michael. The staff clapped. The customers cheered. That restaurant, once filled with silent judgment, had become a place of warmth, kindness, and second chances. Layla and Michael stood at the same window where she had once cried alone. Now smiling hand in hand, proud owners of a place where everyone was welcome. Sometimes the people who cry in silence are the ones carrying the heaviest weight, and sometimes the ones who sit beside them without judgment are the ones who Change everything. Be that person. Like, subscribe, and share this story if it touched your heart.